Hi guys, Dark Aperture here, and I'm back with either the first, the second, or the third Haswell gaming PC. That's right, I'm gonna be one of the first people to ever make one of these things. And that means I'll have some disadvantages. For one thing, since this is a new socket, no coolers are support outside the stock cooler, so you're stuck with that. Let's get to the parts list and move on. So, it's got some pretty solid specs, I'd say. But we'll move on quickly after this since you can just pause the video. Now for the CPU, I chose the Intel Core i7 4770K. Why did I do this, you ask? Why didn't I just go for 4570K? That's probably what you're going to be asking a month from now. But right now, on launch day, the 4570K I can't even find. So sorry, no, we won't be using the i5. We'll be using the i7, which you don't need for gaming, but it will have some additional rendering performance. Pretty sure new i7s have 4 cores and 8 threads, which means that'll give the new i7s a huge advantage over the old ones. And it's $350, which isn't good value, but you're getting some pretty top-end performance, which is pretty max, because this CPU is pretty much just the best LG 1150 has to offer for its first generation of the 2 likely generations of its life. Now here's the reason I had stock. I was originally planning to do this at the point of this part of the video, but oh well. Just since they're an H90i, when it comes out, it might be a little difficult. You may have to take out the motherboard since I didn't use a Corsair case, but oh well. Next up for the memory, one of Corsair Vengeance 8GB, DDR3 1600. Since I do this a lot, I don't even really need to explain as much anymore, but for new viewers, which I will pick up new viewers since I have one of the first Haswell gaming PCs, 8 gigs is enough for gaming. This is a standard for me right now in terms of memory. Don't know what my DDR4 standard in a few years will be. It's also very good RAM in general. And it's $60 too, which is pretty nice. Now for the motherboard, we're not going to use some underpowered H71 I think it's called, or B85 or H85. We're going to use a Z87 board. Now, since there's a new socket, that means all the other boards that are new this year are obsolete. Like any Z77, Z67, H77, B75, H61, they're obsolete because they run LG 1155. This one runs LG 1150. As you can see, it's got quite a few PCI free slots. So it's SLI and Crossfire ready, which this power supply we used is as well, and can actually hold the load from that. It's got 4 RAM slots, so it can upgrade to 32 gigs of memory, unless they start having 16 gigs single DIMMs of RAM. They can get 64 gigs. It's got plenty of ports. It's got SATA6. It's got USB 3. It's got pretty much everything, and it's also built very well for $160. Now it does show no heatsink over the chipset, but when you buy it, it will have heatsink over the chipset because it's such a high-end board. This is when they were just first showing off their boards, so you shouldn't be surprised. It also has a power switch, which is convenient for people who want to test it outside the case first, and for people who want to use a test bed on it. So that's it, $160. Now to the graphics card. We have the EVGA GTX 770 SE 2 gigs. Now, as I said, superclocked is overclocked. It beats the 680 in ties / beats the 770 gigahertz edition. I'll have to look up benchmarks on them, but I'm pretty sure the ties beats it. Maybe like on a level to 7950 versus 580, like a 3% difference. It's also a very powerful card in general. It's only $420. It's got 2 gigs of GDDR5 memory. And GDDR5, as you know, is fast. 2 gig is more than enough for 1080p. And it can do some good in 1440p as well. It's also got a really nice cooler design. Definitely improved over 600 series design, especially for the 670. And anyone who's owned the EVGA 670, well, many people might know what I'm talking about. So next up, the hard drive. We went for 1 TB Caviar Black. It's the best hard drive out there right now. Not the best hard drive, the best 1 TB drive out there. It's the fastest. And at the same time, it's the most reliable. Even if it's not the fastest, maybe an Hitachi drive is faster. I guarantee you, it's far more reliable than an Hitachi drive. Hitachi drives aren't very good in terms of reliability, but they're competitive in terms of speed. And it's $100, which is pretty solid for a drive of this class. Next up, for the SSD, I went for Samsung 840. Just to make this clear, if you're using your SSD as a boot drive, you do not need an 840 Pro. The difference in speed is not very big, and when booting Windows 8, which is very fast to boot even with a hard drive, you're not going to notice a difference really between the 840 and the 840 Pro. Maybe half a second, but that's not very big. Like right now, we just went through 3 seconds, more than 3 seconds actually talking about that. Now it stores Windows and key applications because it's 120 gigs. And another thing that makes Samsung drives a very good choice is that they make older parts in-house, so they can easily repair your drive and not have to outsource to a third party. If say the controller they made for a drive breaks, they can just fix it in-house, which probably helps out a lot for you. Especially since all the parts are the same, they're all Samsung made, so they all work well together at the same time, which gives it a speed boost. And I think the 840 is the best budget drive out there because of that. Pretty sure it comes with a 3-year warranty, maybe 5-year, I don't know. But it's a budget drive, so I'm expecting a 3-year. Now for the optical drive, we already know, blah blah blah. Next up for the case, I went with the NZXT Phantom 410. Now to make an awesome Haswell build like this, I need something a little, how do you put it, tough. I can't just go with an NZXT Source 210 Elite again. That's not really that awesome. So I went with a far better NZXT case. That's also twice as expensive, but look at what it has to offer. It's got all the room you need. All of it. So don't worry, it's all gonna be good. With the Phantom 410, your 770 will fit. Your i7 will fit. The aftermarket cooler is surely put on it. The first chance you get will fit. And by the way, as soon as there's an aftermarket cooler available, I recommend you take the time to put that in, since you'll be able to take advantage of the 4770 case and insane overclocking. They're getting 5 GHz on Intel CPUs again. Somebody couldn't do a 5E bridge, and somebody could do a Sandy bridge. Sandy bridge was always a good excellent overclocker. Rest in peace. Let's see. It's also got plenty of stock fans, but you could always replace those with Corsair AF120s, since you know stock fans aren't all that good and you want more airflow. And the Corsair AF120s and the case fans in general are dirt cheap. You could get free Corsair AF120s for $48. In fact, I could save up some money, get a Corsair AF120 for my computer, and it would boost my PC's cooling, and that'd be nice. But I don't, because I'm lazy. Oh well. So that's pretty much the build. I'm pretty sure this might be the first Haswell build ever to exist on YouTube, and that's a pretty awesome thing to say. It's an honor. If someone like Coda Mush, who I know is also probably rushing right now and making a build as we speak, gets it first, cheers to him. He earned it, and if he waits, it's a good idea to wait, since coolers haven't been updated to support LG 1150. There isn't a 4570K yet, so someone could get a better value build than I am. This build will be beaten in value. It'll be beaten pretty much every aspect in the future. That's true, because it's used many last-gen components. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about the power supply. That's embarrassing. Well, the power supply is the Corsair GS800. It's SLI ready. It's $140. And that's pretty much it. Goodbye. It's also very reliable. Subscribe to me, Dark Aperture, if you enjoyed. Goodbye.